can videotape anything?
Social responsibility. Well, yeah, I mean, it's too easy to get into the game. That's the big problem. Anybody with a camera has a voice now. And not everybody understands the legacy that when you're a person of color or if you're a woman, you represent something, and you really should understand that before you say anything, in my opinion. But we can't stop it, but we can reject it. I mean, you don't have to watch it just because it's there. So, but I take things seriously, and I think it's a matter of individual choice at this point. I can't tell somebody not to do something or not to watch it, but I can provide an alternative.
Joseph?
That's a hard question because I think it's extremely comprehensive. I think it's hard to pin that down to one thing that one needs to do. But if I had to choose one thing, I think we have to give our children, infuse in them possibilities. I think if we just keep showing them what's happening right now and what's trendy and what's popular, they'll never really grow. But I think we have to infuse in our, and I'll say this one last time, the boundless magical opportunities that are before us. Gordon Parks grew up in Kansas, moved to Minneapolis, dropped out of high school, and he was shooting photographs for Vogue and Glamour and Life because he knew he had possibilities. That's what his life represents. I mean, we have to put that into our kids, and I think that is our responsibility, no matter what color you are, what your station in life is. We have to infuse that in and let them know that they can do it.
Kim?
It is a big question, and I think it is up to us as parents and us as a community. And you said pulling the little brother aside and tell him to pull up his pants. I don't know if he will, but eventually if enough of us tell him to, maybe we'll, or give him another option, or explain to him what it really comes from.
Right.
What it really comes from. If they knew what it really came from, they would pull up their pants. They would pull them up, or what it represents. So I do think that it's our parents and our elders and our community. We come from a different, we're in a different space now where the community doesn't raise the babies like they did back in my time. You know, I'm old enough to remember that I was parented by my community, my family, and by the lady down the street who would tell my mother when I misbehaved. And we have to give our young people something else to focus on, and particularly our girls. You know, I'm one of the headliners on the United Negro College Fund Empower Me Tour. And we go around from city to city and talk to young people and try to make it a dialogue to hear where they're coming from. And a lot of them are just, you know, they're young and they're lost. And we were lost then too, but we had less trouble to get into. We had way less trouble to get into. And what I knew I could get away with was, I couldn't get away with much. That was established for me, so I knew how far to go. And maybe it's just hormones. Maybe it's just too much opportunity, too much of the wrong opportunity. But some boundaries have to be set, some levels have to be set, and some goals so that the real possibilities can come up. I think if we give them a new focus and explain what they can do with those possibilities, what they can do with all that energy, there's so much more that can happen. That is in a positive way. Thank you, Eric.
You know, I think it comes down to, for me, one word. It's like, you know, my mother. I was raised in a single parent home, and the foundation is always going to be something that's going to serve you well if it's the proper foundation. And I think my mother's focus, whether she articulated it or not, was integrity. And I think if we instill and if we make that a priority, and like Kim, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and we were products of that. So if we, as my mother used to say, you get toe out when you show out. My mother would give the woman down the street permission to whip my ass if I was acting out, and guess what? When I got home, I was going to get another one. So I mean, that was, and guess what we called it? It wasn't abuse. We called it love. So back to the word integrity, because I think what's happening is with the evolution of technology, there are more opportunities for kids to get into trouble and to get into deeper trouble. So sexting becomes this new thing, and you're like, but you don't understand it. You don't really understand the ramifications. You don't really understand that it's there forever. You don't understand that. It's just something, it's where you are right now. We've all made mistakes, but we've survived our mistakes because the technology at that time didn't, because I did some crazy things when I was young, and I'm glad I'm not a teenager now, because I would probably be doing them now. But I think the key thing is when you have integrity at your foundation, you can grow as the technology grows, and it'll save you. And there's not enough of that emphasized, and I'd love to see more of that emphasized.
Thank you. Add something very quickly. What's interesting is that there's a new app now that you can take a photograph and you can tell it to disappear in 9 seconds or 8 seconds. So here's this interesting new thing that now there's a new way of doing it. Like, so I'm going to send you a picture of my body part, but it's going to disappear. I just find it interesting that now we've developed a way to do it and let it go away.
And it ends up on someone else's body.
Thank you. Of course,
Another hand.
It doesn't make it go away. So.
It never really goes away. Okay, we're now going